They all got together and said, this shall not happen. Not only did they say that, they did it the very same day the contract was signed. I've been saying on here for so many years, and I've been talking about how the NFL gets down and the way they move and how they gonna move with it. They the toughest gangsters in the game. I'm the one who told you and broke stories about how when these CTE cases come out, they purposely make it difficult for you to even get.
Yo, what if I told you that the NFL just got caught red-handed manipulating who gets drafted and for how much money? I'm talking about smoking gun evidence. Bro, actual arbitration documents that prove Roger Goodell himself called up all 32 teams after Deshaun Watson got that massive guaranteed deal and basically said, this can never happen again. And guess what happened next? Shedeur Sanders, who was projected as a first or second round pick, mysteriously slides all the way to the 5th round, costing him over $50 million in guaranteed money. Coincidence? I don't think so. The same league that admitted to racial norming, that blackballed Colin Kaepernick, that's been caught doing shady stuff behind closed doors for years, just pulled off their biggest heist yet. And they used Shedeur Sanders as their example to send a message to every agent, every player, every team owner out there. Don't you dare step outside our control again. Listen up, because what I'm about to tell you is going to change how you look at every single NFL draft from now on. We're not just talking about some conspiracy theory here. We're talking about documented proof that the NFL has been playing puppet master with players' careers and bank accounts. And Shedeur Sanders? He just became their biggest victim, YET.SO. Let me break this down for you like you're sitting right here with me, because this story has more twists than a Christopher Nolan movie, and by the end of it, you're going to understand exactly how deep this rabbit hole goes. It all starts with Deshaun Watson's contract. Remember when Cleveland gave him that fully guaranteed $230 million deal? Everyone in the media was talking about how it was going to reset the quarterback market, how every elite QB was going to demand similar deals. But what they didn't tell you is what happened behind closed doors the very same day that contract was signed. According to these arbitration documents that just surfaced, and I'm talking about legal documents from an actual arbitration meeting, Roger Goodell got on the phone with representatives from all 32 NFL teams. And the message was crystal clear. This shall not happen again. Not, let's be careful with our spending. Not, let's think about this. Straight up, this will not happen. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so the owners don't want to overpay players. What's new? But here's where it gets wild. They didn't just decide to be more conservative. They decided to make examples. And guess who became their biggest example? Shedeur Sanders. Think about this for a second. Shedeur Sanders was consistently mocked in the first 2 rounds by every major draft analyst. This dude put up incredible numbers at Colorado, showed elite arm talent, had all the intangibles you want in a franchise quarterback. ESPN had him going in the 1st round. So did NFL Network. Draft experts across the board had him as a top 50 pick minimum. But then draft day comes, and something strange happens. 1st round passes. Okay, maybe teams are being careful. 2nd round passes. All right, that's weird, but maybe they see something we don't. 3rd round, 4th round, and then boom, 5th round to Cleveland. A projected 1st or 2nd round pick slides to the 137th overall selection. Do you understand what that means financially? We're talking about the difference between a $15 to $20 million guaranteed signing bonus and maybe $1 to $2 million. That's not just money. That's generational wealth that just disappeared into thin air. And here's the kicker. Everyone in the media was able to calculate exactly how much money he lost, down to the penny. Almost like they knew exactly where he was supposed to go and exactly how much he was supposed to make. But here's where the conspiracy gets really dark. The Cleveland Browns, the same team that gave Watson that massive guaranteed deal, they extensively scouted Shedeur Sanders. They went to see him multiple times during the pre-draft process. They talked to him extensively. Now ask yourself this. Why would you spend all that time and resources scouting someone you think is a 5th round pick? Why would you fly coaches and executives across the country to evaluate a player you think will be available in the later rounds? The answer is simple. They knew he wasn't a 5th round talent. They knew he was going to be there in the 5th round because the fix was already in. See, here's what I think happened, and this is where it gets really calculated. The NFL needed to solve 2 problems at once. Problem number 1, they needed to punish Cleveland for stepping outside the council and giving Watson that guaranteed deal. Problem number 2. They needed to send a message to every other team and every other agent that stepping outside their wage suppression system has consequences that is, they killed 2 birds with 1 stone. They let Cleveland get Shedeur Sanders, but only after making him slide to the 5th round. Think about the beautiful irony here. Cleveland gets punished for overpaying Watson by being allowed to get a potential franchise quarterback at a massive discount. If Sanders hits, he's getting paid pennies on the dollar for 4 years while Cleveland looks like geniuses. If he doesn't work out, well, they only invested a 5th round pick. But here's the really sinister part. This isn't the first time they've done this. Remember when Lamar Jackson wanted a fully guaranteed deal? 2-time MVP, in his prime, requesting a trade. How many teams called? How many teams even inquired? 0. A 2-time MVP quarterback was sitting there available and not. 1 team picked up the phone. That doesn't happen in a normal market. That happens when the council has already decided what's going to happen. Same thing with Kyler Murray. Number 1 overall pick, clearly talented, but when it came time for his extension, what did they do? They gave him a deal, but they made sure to leak stories about how he doesn't study film, how he's not dedicated enough, how he plays too much Call of Duty. They character assassinated him in the media while giving him what they called a baby extension instead of a grown man. Extension. You see the pattern here? It's not about talent. It's about control. It's about making sure every player, every agent, every team knows that the NFL owners control the market, not the other way around. And let me tell you something else that's going to blow your mind. This isn't even the worst thing they've been caught doing. The same league that just got exposed for wage suppression is the same league that admitted to racial norming. You know what that is? That's the practice of saying African American players start off cognitively lower than other players. So when they get tested for CTE or brain trauma, it's harder for them to prove they have deficits from football-related injuries. They literally created a system that made it harder for black players to get compensation for brain injuries. And they admitted to it. They also admitted to asking sexually inappropriate questions at the combine, racially inappropriate questions. They've been caught doing shady stuff for years, but somehow people act surprised when they get caught manipulating the draft. Here's what really gets me though. Remember when Colin Kaepernick got blackballed? Everyone said it was because of his kneeling, because of his protest. But guess what? Kaepernick sued the NFL for collusion and won. Eric Reid sued them for collusion and won. The NFL paid them settlements to make the discovery go away because they knew if those documents came out, it would expose their whole system. And right after they paid those settlements, what did they do? They went to Jay-Z and said, "Hey, we need you to do this halftime show thing. Help us smooth things over with the music and entertainment community." This was right after George Floyd, when they realized they couldn't keep telling players they couldn't kneel because public opinion had shifted. So they bought their way out of that controversy too. But here's the thing. Every single year, there's somebody with a narrative that magically slides in the draft. Every single year, there's a player who was projected higher that ends up falling for mysterious reasons. And every single year, we're told it's because of character concerns or off-field issues or scheme fit. But what if it's not? What if it's because the council has already decided who goes where and for how much? Look at what's happening right now with the Cincinnati Bengals. They're trying to get their 1st-round pick to sign a contract with language that no other team is using, language that removes guarantees if he gets hurt. Why? It's not about the Bengals being cheap. It's about the council maintaining control, making sure every contract negotiation reminds players and agents who's really in charge. And you know what the crazy part is? When Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, recently came out and said he regretted the Watson trade, that it didn't work out, that it was his bad. Who was he apologizing to? Was he apologizing to Browns fans? Or was he apologizing to the council? Was he basically saying, "My bad for stepping outside the system, I won't do it again"? Because think about it. The Browns gave Watson that guaranteed deal, and what happened? Watson barely played for 3 years. He got suspended, injured, benched. It's like they made sure his contract became an albatross around Cleveland's neck as punishment for going outside the system. But now they're giving Cleveland a potential franchise quarterback at a discount price. If Sanders hits, it erases the Watson situation completely. If he doesn't, well, they only lost a 5th-round pick. Either way, Cleveland learned their lesson about stepping outside the council's wage suppression system. The most disturbing part about all of this is how coordinated it is. We're not talking about individual teams making independent decisions. We're talking about a coordinated effort across all 32 franchises to suppress player wages and control the market. That's not capitalism. That's collusion. That's price fixing. That's exactly what antitrust laws are designed to prevent. And here's what's really going to cook your brain. The NFL Combine isn't where players rise and fall based on their performance. It's where deals get made. It's where the council decides who goes where. All those anonymous sources, all those mysterious reports that come out right before the draft about players having concerns, those aren't legitimate scouting reports. Those are coordinated media campaigns designed to justify predetermined outcomes. You ever wonder why everything is so anonymous? Why every report is from unnamed sources or league executives? It's because they have a whole network of people whose job it is to control the narrative. They have media members who are essentially their mouthpieces, spreading whatever story they need to spread to justify whatever they've already decided to do. So, when you see Shedeur Sanders slide from a projected first or second round pick to the fifth round, don't think it's because teams suddenly discovered he couldn't play. Think about the timing. Think about the context. Think about the fact that this happened right after the NFL got caught red-handed discussing wage suppression in arbitration documents. This is their way of sending a message. This is their way of showing every player, every agent, every team owner that they control the game. They decide who gets paid what. They decide who goes where. And if you step outside their system like Cleveland did with Watson, they'll make sure you pay the price while giving you just enough to keep you quiet. The question isn't whether this happened. The documents prove it did. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to keep pretending that these mysterious draft slides are just coincidence? Are we going to keep believing that the most popular sport in America, run by some of the most ruthless businessmen in the world, operates on the up and up? Or are we going to start asking the real questions? Like, why does this keep happening? Like, why are there always anonymous sources with convenient stories that justify predetermined outcomes? Like, why does the most profitable sports league in the world fight so hard to keep player wages down while they're making billions in TV revenue? Because here's the truth. Nothing in the NFL happens by accident. When players get cut, it's for a reason. When contracts get structured certain ways, it's for a reason. When draft picks slide mysteriously, it's for a reason. And that reason usually has more to do with maintaining control and suppressing wages than it does with actual football talent. Shadur Sanders didn't slide to the fifth round because he couldn't play football. He slid because the NFL needed to make an example out of someone, and he was the perfect target. Young, talented, marketable, exactly the type of player who should be getting paid top dollar. But instead, he's getting pennies for the next 4 years while the league sends a message to everyone else. This is what happens when you think you can outsmart the system. So the next time you see a mysterious draft slide, remember Shedeur Sanders. Remember that we have documented proof that NFL owners coordinate to suppress player wages. Remember that this isn't some conspiracy theory, it's documented fact. From legal arbitration proceedings, the game is rigged, folks. The question is, are you going to keep playing along, or are you going to start demanding answers? What do you think? Is this just another coincidence? Or is the NFL really running a coordinated scheme to control player salaries? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this opened your eyes to what's really going on behind the scenes, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because trust me, this story is just getting started. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the NFL's biggest secrets are about to come to light, and you don't want to miss what we uncover next.